Am I the AH for kicking my sister out of my house over a garden? My sister has lived with me since she was a teen mom. She has her own little space for her and her kids. It's my house. I own it. My fiancée Amy moved in, and as my wife Amy can remodel the home as she likes. Amy and I have been together for 4 years. My sister has lived with me for 6. My sister and Amy got in this huge argument over ripping out my grass where her kids play and making a garden that will bloom next spring. Amy had discussed this with me and it was agreed on. Because of our different schedules, we forgot about my sister and telling her about the garden. Amy took a few days off from work to meet with the contractors for the initial digging up the yard. This happened while I was at work. My sister made a scene with the contractors and yelled at Amy. Amy told my sister that it's time for her to move out and get on with her own life. I have been supporting her and her kids for too long. A neighbor got involved and called the police saying Amy wasn't authorized to have the contractors dig up the yard. Amy was asked to leave the property by the police with an overnight bag. This was supervised by the police because I was not reachable at work. My sister told me, "Can you believe this bitch ripping up the yard like that?" I have to leave work and take my hour commute home to deal with my sister. I told her it's time for her to move out and she should have never been involved with the garden. It wasn't her place. It's not her fucking home. My sister was complaining that her boys love to play in that patch of grass and she can't believe I would make changes to her play area without consulting her. Amy is fucking pissed at my sister and the neighbor. The neighbor tried to apologize but I had to tell the neighbor there is no more coming over because she will be trespassed and she had no business calling the police and making the situation worse. The neighbor explained she didn't know Amy was authorized to make those changes and I told the neighbor too fucking bad. She's banned from the property even though she's friends with my sister and their kids play together. I told my sister that her and the boys have to go and she needs to be out by the new year or we'll take legal action on her. My sister keeps crying and apologizing but her actions showed Amy what her married life would be like with my sister lived with us and I'm putting my wife first and my sister has to go. Am I the AH for leaving when family was late to meet me for breakfast on my birthday? I want to start this by saying I love my family more than anything. Even though they piss me off sometimes, they're my people, be nice to them or I will hunt you down. So today is my birthday. About a week ago, my mother and sisters made plans to meet me at a little brunch spot in the city near her house, only a short drive away. We agreed to meet at 0700. My mom was driving my younger sisters, who still live with her. I was driving in from out of town. Something to know about me is that I can't stand being late. It makes me feel sick in a literal sense, so I plan to be places early. So despite getting stuck waiting on a train, I still showed up to the dinner at 0650. Something to know about my mom, who I love dearly, is that she is always late, no matter the occasion. Both of my sisters get truancy notices every year because they get dropped off late regularly. I think the only reason my mother hasn't been fired is because she has a government job. Well, I hurry up and start waiting. At 0720, I get a text from my sister saying, "Sorry brother, mom slept in today. We're running late." I'm pretty upset at this point. I think to myself, this is just her showing no respect for my time, or really me. I can't help but think of all the other times people have taken advantage of my patience. At this point, I don't want to have breakfast anymore. I call my mom, but she doesn't answer. I wait another 3 minutes, before texting her saying I'm leaving. Then I leave. Well, almost immediately after I left, mom calls me and asks where I am. I tell her I left. She starts talking about all the things she's done for me. And it's wrong, I couldn't even give her a 10-minute grace period. I say, "Oh, I see, I'm the asshole here," and I hang up. I know arguments are pointless, because nobody changes their minds. Well, I haven't heard from my mother, but my little sisters are upset with me. I do feel bad about that. They're truly innocent, just in a bad position. I wish I was stronger for them, we all could have had a good morning. So am I the AH on this one? Should I have waited, or gone back after leaving? Am I the AH for making birthday treats for my bio siblings, but not my step-siblings? When I, 16M, was 10, my mom got married and made a blended family with her husband, Kev. Mom brought me, my younger sister, 14F, and younger brother, 12M. Kev brought his 2 kids Elle, 8, and Ryan, 9. Elle and Ryan's mom died too, and every summer they fly out a few times to spend time with their maternal relatives in another state. Me and my siblings also lost our dad, but we get to see his family all the time because they live close. When my dad was alive, he used to make us birthday treats every year. They were something all 3 of us remembered, but Mom was never good at making them, so the tradition died, and this year I decided to work hard at making them good so I could make them for my siblings. My step-siblings weren't here on my siblings' actual birthdays, both have summer birthdays, so they never saw me give the treats. But I made sure to make a lot for my sister and my brother's birthday this year. My mom and Kev knew I'd worked on them and they saw me make and give them to my siblings on their birthdays. Yesterday was Elle's birthday and I didn't make her any. My mom asked me about it and I said it was something I did for my siblings because Dad used to, but Elle and Ryan were never a part of that. She got a little sad and told me she'd like to think of us all as siblings. I said I see Elle and Ryan more like cousins. Which made Mom sadder. She asked me if the birthday treats were something I'd ever consider doing for Elle and Ryan, and I told her it wouldn't be my choice if I did. Kev was listening to us talk, and he told me it's crappy that I consider Elle and Ryan as lesser than my bio siblings. He said they don't remember the time before we were all one family, and it shouldn't be hard to love them just as much and treat them all the same. I brought up the fact it's always been different and I was always closer to my siblings. He told me to stop saying that, because they're all my siblings. Mom told Kev to calm down. She said it was sad I felt that way, and then Kev said it's pretty clear my sister and brother feel the same too when they talked about me needing the treats for my birthday, but never mentioned Elle and Ryan. He told me my step-siblings might not know but eventually they will, and I'll be responsible for making them feel like less important siblings because to them we're all siblings, not step-siblings, or cousins, siblings. Am I the AH? Am I the AH for making someone give me a description of their lost item before returning it? So I live in a big student apartment complex, and while you have to be a student to be in the lease, it's pretty easy for anyone to get into the building. While I was walking in the hall today, I found a gold Cartier ring on the ground. I don't know jewelry very well, but I knew this was expensive, so I put a note up by the elevator with my name and apartment number and said found a lost ring, come by any time to get it, and brought the ring back to my room. My thinking was that most people would probably just take it, and it seemed pretty valuable. A few hours later, a girl knocked on my door, asking if I was the one who found a ring. I said yes, of course. What did the ring you lost look like before I go grab it? If you can't give me a vague description, probably not yours, right? Immediately, she lost it on me and started threatening calling the police since I'm stealing from her. I finally calmed her down enough to explain that I just didn't want someone looking for a new free ring grabbing it, and I don't want a detailed manifesto on the ring, just something so I know it's yours, and she told me size 3 gold Cartier ring, which was the one I had, so I said give me 2 seconds, I'll go grab it, and went to shut the door and she lost it again, demanding to come inside with me while I grabbed it. Obviously I'm not letting her in cause I don't know her, and she just finished screaming at me, so I just shut and locked while I ran to grab it, and the entire time she was screaming, calling me an asshole, making a massive scene in the hall. She finally left when I gave her the ring, and now I'm sitting here flabbergasted at the interaction. I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing, but I'm started to question if I went about this in an asshole way. Please be brutally honest here. I always assumed that was standard practice for returning a lost item, but I also know what they say about when you assume, so I'd like to know for future interactions if I was right and she was being unreasonable, or I just went about it wrong.